I'm the Training and Technology Coordinator here at Central Texas College, and I'm going to be your presenter for this particular video. This time we're going to take a look at basic use of Softdocs Etrieve Central. That's CTC's electronic form processing, submission, and archival. So without further ado, I'm going to switch on over to the desktop here so you can see what's going on. So we need to know how to log in to Etrieve, and there's two different ways to log into Etrieve. You can log in, well actually there's three different ways to log in. The first way is you can log in using a public account. When you log in with a public account, then chances are you're going to be using either a Gmail or an Outlook.com or Hotmail. If that's the case, you're going to use one of these two icons. Okay, this is the Outlook or Hotmail, and this is Gmail. However, if you're a student and you're going to log in, you're going to use this username and password field. This is only for students. For employees, we're going to come down here to the CTC shield in the middle. And as long as you're logged in for the first time and you've gone through the multi-factor authentication, then when you click on this shield, it should open Etrieve Central right there for you. No extra logging in, no usernames or passwords required. Okay, so that's the first important thing. For employees, you must log in one time before you're even registered in Etrieve as a user. Okay, you'll have a username and password out there, but until you log in at least one time, you're not going to show up in the user list. You may not understand that, and that's okay. You don't need to understand, you just need to understand that you have to log in at least once. And this is an important thing when it comes to your supervisor doing searches for you. I'm not going to get that deep into Etrieve right now because this is just a basic getting to know things, all right? So once you're logged in, over here on the left side, you're going to see four primary areas. The first one is your inbox. Your inbox is where forms show up that are sent to you, all right? Forms that are sent to you. So if you click on your inbox, right now I have nothing in my inbox, so it shows no results. But if a form is sent to you, it will show you how many forms you have in here. And then when you click on the inbox, it will show you the inbox results over here. So right now there's nothing in my inbox, so there's nothing to see. The second area is the activity. The activity area is where forms that you have already processed show up. So forms that you've submitted, and we'll get into that in a minute. Forms that have been sent to you in your inbox, you open it, you review it, and then you click the approve button. All of that will show up in the activity. One of the biggest mistakes that people make is they open their activity and they try and make a change to a form, or they try and submit a form from their activity. Your activity is merely a copy of things you've already done. You cannot make changes and you cannot submit or approve forms from your activity. So if I click on my activity, there's a whole bunch of stuff in my activity, all right? Tons and tons and tons of stuff, more than you need to see, more than I need to see, but they're in there and they're going to stay there forever. Theory is it'll start to be backed up after so many years. I haven't seen that yet, but I'm sure it'll happen eventually. Then we have the forms library. So this is where all of the forms are located. If you're logged in as an employee, you're only going to see employee forms, not student forms. If you log in using Gmail, Hotmail, or Outlook.com, you're only going to see public forms. So that's why it's important that you log in as an employee using your employee credentials. And your supervisor can help you out with that, okay? So forms. So if I click on forms, I'm going to see all of the forms available to employees, okay? So these are all employee forms. This is everything that's available. Couple different ways you can work around through the forms area. By default, it comes in and all of the different areas are expanded. So if you click this collapse all button or icon or words, then it'll collapse everything and you can see the different categories. So that can save you some time. If you know you're looking for, I don't know, an employment services form or an in-processing form or something to do with payroll. Maybe you're looking for the leave form. You can collapse them all, go down to payroll, and then expand payroll, and you'll only see forms in the payroll section. An easier way to do things is if you leave everything expanded, is if you click here in the search field, and you know you want the leave form. If you type leave, then you'll see the leave form. Now on a few forms, we have two different versions. We have the employee version, and then we have the supervisor initiated version. So this doesn't mean this is a form for supervisors to submit for themselves. No, 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 no. This is a form that supervisors can use to submit a leave form for one of their employees. Okay? So if it just says employee, then that's for employees. If it says supervisor, then it's a supervisor initiated form. Doesn't mean it's for supervisors. Okay? So that makes things real easy. If you're looking for a training completion form, you know, every year we have to do the cybersecurity training. If you come up to the search field and you type cyber, then you'll find the cybersecurity training completion form. If you want to increase your QPP, your benefits, then you can come up here and type QPP, and you'll see your QPP additional contribution request form. So using this search field is by far the easiest way to find a form. Even if you're not sure what a form is called, you can type a word into the search field and see what it comes up with. Okay. All I know is I need to submit a completion form. So I type COMPL, and here you'll see all the completion forms. You also get a student complaint form, which I'm not sure why that shows up in the employee world or not. But it's there. That's okay. So here are all your completion forms. There's also a few student forms in here. These probably show up because I'm an administrator. Who knows? So yeah, easy by far. The easiest way is to use this search field. So when you find a form that you want to use, let's say I want to do a leave form. When I click on that form, it opens that form over here on the left side. Now, many of our forms are going to auto-populate the employee's ID number, last name, and first name. And then it's up to the employee to fill out the rest. You select your campus, you type in your position. Okay, I can't spell worth a darn. Okay, and you put your department. And then you're gonna, depending on what form you're using, some of them you'll have to do some searching. For this one, you have to search for your supervisor. Important point here, anytime you see these search fields, unless it's searching for an ID number, okay? If it wants you to put in your supervisor, this is an important point right here. Search by last name or last name, comma, space, first name. And here's why. I'll just use myself as an example. So I type at least most of the first name and then do a search, and it'll give you this search results. When you click this drop down, chances are you'll have one, maybe two. The more you type, the more specific or the more concise your results are going to be. Okay, so when I click on this one, then it auto-populates this supervisor's name over here, and you don't have to worry about anything after that. So this, you'll see my CTC email and last name, comma, space, first name. If you search first name, last name, a lot of people think, well, it's no different. It's the same person. Well, yeah, it is the same person, but when I do a search, you'll see it says employee not found because there is no employee named David Wyman. Okay. In some of these search fields, if you type first name, last name like this, it's going to send it to their student account. And some employees have student accounts even though they've never been students. The system just created it. Okay? So anytime you're searching for a supervisor, last name, comma, space, first name. Very, very important. Okay? All right. What else? Well, some of them are what you see is going to be dependent on what you select. So if I select vacation, well then those are the fields that show up. If I select sick, well then those are the fields that show up. So usually, I mean, it's actually pretty simple. Most of the forms are not too complicated. Some folks make them more complicated than they really should be. Okay. Now, one of the things about these forms, let me get back to the lead form. Now, there's a lead form. If I start filling out a lead form like I did earlier, right? I selected a campus and a position and a department and all of that good stuff. If you enter any information into a form other than what's auto-populated, then it's going to automatically create a draft for you because it figures you started to fill it out and maybe you're going to finish it later. So it creates a draft for you. So here's that leave request that I started to fill out. How do I know it's the one I started to fill out? Well, because I put my position as quarterback. So that's how I know that's the one I just filled out. If you have drafts in here that you don't want, right? I don't want either one of these two forms. Then you click the edit button and you select the ones that you don't want and then you delete those. Easy, 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 easy. All right, so I showed you an example of a couple forms. Let me just go ahead and I keep going back to this lead form because it's so easy. But I'm gonna fill out a leave form and I'm gonna send it to myself just so you can see what the inbox looks like. Select that. I'll go back to tight end training. Look for me. I found me. This box right here, anytime you see these red boxes or orange boxes, make sure you read them. This is probably one of my biggest errors that I get on this form and the educational benefits form. This box, this checkbox, when you select this checkbox, it'll automatically delete the form, sends it straight to the trash can, right? Form originators only can send this form to their, can send this form from their inbox to the trash bin by selecting this checkbox and clicking submit. So if you have this form, if you submitted this form and it came back to you for whatever reason and you don't need it anymore, click that checkbox and submit it, and it'll go to the trash. Okay? But only if you want to throw this form in the trash. Only if you want to throw it in the trash, all right? Okay, so I'm going to continue here. I'll just do some vacation. 0 hours on 0000. Okay, so I filled out the form. I just put in here test form. So now you'll see down here at the bottom from your forms library, when you open a form, you'll have option buttons down here. So from here, you can print the form, you can download the form, you can add attachments. Adding attachments, easy. You click the attachment button, you click the upload files, and it'll open this, and I'll just attach a file here. I don't know if it'll let me attach that or not, but we'll find out. And then I'll close it. Okay, so now I have a leave form with an attachment, maybe a doctor's note. Okay. And then I'm going to click the submit button. The only time you'll see a submit button is when you initiate a form. So I'll click the submit button. Off it goes. It's traveling out through the network to the servers, from the servers, and it'll come back to me here in just a minute. Let me close this, and I'll refresh my screen. And there it is. So you see that number one. That number one right there tells me that I have one form in my inbox that's waiting for me to do something with it. So I click my inbox. There's the form. Okay, it's a leave request. Tells you who it's from, all that fun stuff. You click this package. It's called a package name. You click this package name and it'll open that form over here in the form window. So now I'm doing some sort of review or approval for this form. I look at it and read it, blah, blah, blah. Yep, all looks good. So now down at the bottom, instead of having a submit button, I have an approve button. So me clicking this approve button means, okay, send it on to the next person in line who's going to approve it or review it or whatever the case may be. Some forms have a decline button. Clicking this decline button will do one of two things. Number one, it'll throw this form straight to the trash. Number two, it'll send it to me as the administrator and I'll throw it in the trash. So make sure that you don't decline any forms that you don't want thrown away. If you accidentally click the decline button and it's a form that comes to me, I can send it back to you. But not all of these forms come to me. For example, the leave form. If a supervisor deletes a leave form, it's gone. If you want to try and submit for leave again, you fill out another leave form. Okay? You can refer this form to another person so that they can review it. And then when they click the approve button, it comes right back to you. And then you click approve and it goes on to the next person. You can return these forms to anyone previous in the workflow. There's a history. You can click the history and you can see where this form came from, who all has approved it. It's all right there. You can add comments. The only person that can't add comments like this is the originator. There are no comments like this available for the originator of the form. Just make sure that when you add a comment, you save the comment, and then it puts it here in the history. And you close this, and then you send the form on its way. Okay? So again, there's an attachments where you can view the attachments. Okay. I'm not gonna open that attachment just because. Another important thing is if you work in an office where you and maybe other people might be looking at the same forms, only one person can work on these forms at a time. So when you open a form, it automatically locks it, right? Automatically locks it. Kind of like when you get in your car, put it in gear, the door's locked. You don't have to do it. It does it all by itself. So when you open a form, it automatically locks it. And it will stay locked until you either unlock it or click the approve button. So let me show you what that looks like. If I close this form, because, well, I don't know what to do with it, or it's somebody else's job to take care of this particular form, or I'm going to come back to it later. When I click on the inbox and I look at this form, oh look, I got another form, and I look at this form that I just opened, you'll notice that there is now a lock icon. This lock icon means that whoever opened it first, this guy right here, has that form locked and nobody else can mess with it. They can open it and look at it, but they can't approve it or decline it or return it or anything. So if you're not going to be the person who takes action on that form, you have to come down here to this icon and click, and it'll tell you the package was successfully unlocked. So now when I come back over here, you'll see that it is no longer locked. Okay. All right. So I think that pretty much covers basic formology. Just made that up. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call. I'll put my email. I'll put my phone number. You can always call Teresa Morris over in IT. Their extension is 3103. If you're off campus, it's 501-3103.